Fiction. Another banger blockbuster.
Yeah, big movie. Big movie. Many people have heard of
Many
Pulp Fiction. I would argue maybe, I don't know, is it the most heard of movie of all time? It feels like it in some ways, in some circles.
That's a good question. What's the most heard of movie of all time?
Yeah, like the most
It's
popular.
It's got to be like Frozen or something.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, because if you're counting for adults and children, then you don't hear about Pulp Fiction until a certain age.
It's
Pulp
true.
Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Frozen.
Pulp Frozen.
Now, how about Pulp Frozen?
How about Pulp Frozen? So
Disney?
what would happen? Who is Elsa Marcellus?
I just feel like you've got to have Elsa and Anna as Vincent and Samuel Jackson's name.
I have no idea. Oh my God.
Well, what an embarrassing way to start our
Jackson.
What an embarrassing way to start our Pulp Fiction episode.
No idea what his name is.
Before we get started on Pulp Fiction, do want to say that this is a very special episode because at the end, after our Pulp Fiction review or conversation or whatever it ends up being, we have a very special guest joining us for our game who's going to be reviewing our next movie with us. And that is our good friend, James Yates.
Yay!
Phenomenal writer, comedian, actor. We've known him forever.
Literally
big film
forever. Buff also.
Oh my God.
Loves movies. So.
Big fan of the show.
Big fan of the show.
Probably a bigger fan than you. And we're really excited to have him.
Yes.
It's going to be great. So stay tuned for that.
Fun. Yeah.
So Pulp Fiction. This is a movie, you've seen Pulp Fiction a few times.
Course,
yeah.
Of course.
Would you say?
Yeah. Probably like 3 or 4 times.
I'm thinking 2 or 3
not
times
like an
total.
Excessive number of times, but you know.
Well, we're only so old. It takes years to watch Pulp Fiction. It is 7 years long.
It's long. It is long. It is long. How long's it been since you've seen it?
I would say not college, but 20s for sure. So I would say over 10 years since I've watched it in full.
Okay, I think that might be true for me too.
Yeah, yeah. What's interesting, we just watched Avengers and this one, and I'm looking at Sam Jackson. I'm like, Samuel Jackson, first of all, there's actually, here's what really surprised me when I was crunching the numbers here on Pulp Fiction and Avengers. They're only 14 years apart, which now in the year 2024 feels like nothing. But from 1994 to 2008, when Avengers came out, 14 years.
I was like, I
forgot. Now it feels like, those movies were pretty close together. But I think about my life between when I was 10 years old and I guess I was 20 years old when Avengers came out. You know what? Your teen years feel like a long time is really what that comes down to.
The long and short of it is.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, because you were you were on the film track.
For a little while,
It was like required viewing for film. It was like the film guys movie.
It was like socially required viewing. It wasn't assigned to me in any film classes.
No, that's what I mean.
But yeah,
just it was like if you're a film guy, you're watching David Lynch, you're watching Quentin Tarantino, you're watching.
I will say,
whatever.
In my brief stint with film school, because I then got a job in the film industry, so my own professors told me, get the hell out of here. Why are you paying us? Right. But yes, I did know a lot of Tarantino idolizers. People whose own projects tended to really I was like, okay, guys, I get it. You don't have to tell me who your favorite filmmaker is. Well, you're all trying to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
Bunch of storylines going on at once. Gangsters with guns in suits. Like, I'm not saying...
Snappy dialogue with tangents about personal things.
Yeah. I don't think necessarily they're all imitating Tarantino. I think Tarantino just reflects a certain type of person who wants to make movies. And he was one of the early ones to get really big at doing that. And that reflects Scorsese and people long before him too. Right? So it's not... I don't think that it's a bunch of people copying Tarantino. I just think it's a style that people I think it's a style that people have in their hearts and minds that makes them want to make movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. I mean, but did you like it when you saw it at the time?
At the
and you were like,
time?
I want to make movies. Were you like, that's a movie that's so cool. I want to make a movie like that.
So that's a good question because I was a little snooty in the opposite direction about it. I was a little counterculture where I was like, ugh, everybody wants to be Quentin Tarantino, so forget that.
Can't be good.
I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to be, who's the opposite of Quentin Tarantino?
Barney the dinosaur is what first came to mind.
I'm going to make Barney the dinosaur.
I don't know why.
That's my goal.
That's what came to mind. Yeah, there were times when I was thinking about that a lot because he was such a name, for our particular part of the generation that was in film school at that time. It felt like inescapable. You had to have seen every movie he ever made. Mm-hmm. And of course, Fight Club and Memento and like those types of films too. But, I was just watching it and I was like, there were some times that his camera moves or camera setups or whatever were really awesome. And I thought they added a lot to it. And then other times when I was like, I'm not understanding this choice. Mm-hmm. I loved the camera angle when Christopher Walken comes to tell young little Butch about the watch up the ass or whatever, which is what a turn, for that scene to take. But anyway, I loved it because it really made you feel like you were a kid. The house seemed enormously large and all the adults were really far away and big. Yeah. And so it just kind of it put you in that character.
That's cool.
And I thought that was really cool. But then like when he had the camera behind, even before that, it was actually when Marcellus was having his big monologue to Butch, grown up Bruce Willis. And it was just the camera just on Bruce Willis's face. Uh-huh. And he was, of course, making like zero expression.
Right.
I was like, for me, I don't know. It just made that seem longer.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind it when it was behind his head as much. But I don't know. It seemed like it lingered too long or something and sort of lost something. You have a great actor. Mm-hmm. You're losing some of that performance a little bit.
That's interesting. This is, we'll fight about it. We do have a fight sequence.
Yeah. Pick your fighter.
Yeah, choose your fighter.
Choose your fighter.
We're both rock'em sock'em robots.
I guess we are. I guess do you want me to do an uppercut?
What uppercut it be?
How would you rather me fight you?
Yeah, you go like
I'm supposed to go like this?
From high.
But I'm short. I'm shorter than you.
Yeah, that's why we meet in the middle. Ready?
Okay, I hope this sounds as funny as it looks.
Oh, it'll sound terrible. It's going to look great.
I don't know if
Well, first of all, you're playing the piano.
I am playing the
piano. With your fists.
I'm like a monkey. It's like
monkey at a typewriter. You're like a monkey at a typewriter who's typing out the script to Pulp Fiction. Point being, I was watching that scene and I was like, man, through a lot of this movie, my 2024 brain is tested in its patience.
Sure.
Right? Sure, that's fine. I'll admit that. It's not the movie's fault.
Right.
It's
common issue.
It's the internet's fault.
Mm-hmm. It's the internet's fault.
But
thanks a lot, AI.
But I actually am watching that scene that's just on Bruce Willis while Ving Rhames is just talking at him. And I was like, okay, Bruce Willis here obviously looks tough as hell. Mm-hmm. And he, like you said, is expressionless.
It's like poker face.
And Ving Rhames is just talking at him. And to me, I thought, Ving Rhames already has a scary voice. Mm-hmm. And then you just hear it. And I feel like I'm almost having a dream, like almost having a nightmare of this like scary voice. And then I'm seeing this tough ass guy, not like bucking up. He's not like, he is stone-faced, like, I shouldn't say anything. I better be quiet. I better just listen to this. I'm not allowed to interject. Like, I felt like that was very effectively, that scene scared me. Mm-hmm. And then you pull back, and when you do see the back of his head, and of course we haven't seen his face at all yet at this point, I literally thought the only thing scarier than only hearing Ving Rhames' voice is only seeing the back of Ving Rhames' head. And then the only thing scarier than that is that there's a single Band-Aid on it.
One Band-Aid.
That freaked me out. I was like
just like Nelly.
I was a lot more scared of Marcellus Wallace than I ever was of Nelly.
Well, it's probably fair. Fair.
But
fair to be more scared.
I was just like, that Band-Aid tells a story, and I don't think I want to know it.
That's fair. I was definitely thinking to myself, I was like, I don't know if that was my 2024 brain or, because I do love some mystique building.
Yeah.
And in that way, I think it was effective. But I was like, I just wonder if, I don't know. It just felt a little long.
Sure.
But, I get it.
The editor of this movie, Sally Menke, I saw in the credits. And I was like, this is probably one of the hardest jobs anyone's ever had in Hollywood. Because I'm watching this movie.
Tarantino?
Yeah, just this movie.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
This movie specifically, Pulp Fiction, it is 2.5 hours long. And about 2/3 of the way through every scene, conversation, I start to think to myself, this could go and the movie won't change. But by the end of the scene, I'm like, no, you can't cut that.
No.
And you could cut it down, but then you lose the entire style of the dialogue, which I do think is what sets this movie apart and makes it stand out. And I'll tell you what I really thought in the last 10 minutes of this movie, not because of the last 10 minutes, but just after watching it for 2.5 hours, I was like, this movie's like a podcast. It's just a bunch of chunks of two dudes talking to each other about nothing. It's basically a series of podcasts. And occasionally somebody gets their head blown off.
To that point, it would actually not be that hard to do on stage either.
Oh, no, yeah. You could totally stage
it would be
Pulp
mostly
Fiction.
like a couple to 5 people.
Yeah. So that was my thought. I was like, this movie is a podcast. It's a fairly good one because I was interested in their conversations, but it was just a string of conversations.
Oh yeah, it really.
Yeah,
it was
with a loose,
very much so.
Sort of disjointed timeline, kind of through line.
Right.
Yeah.
A collection of conversations, by the way, that managed to use pretty much every racial slur known to man.
Yeah.
By the end of it, which I was like, why is the N-word happening so much? Which is so annoying.
N-words, G-words. Just pick a letter of the alphabet, and there was a word starting with that letter that shouldn't have been there.
You should not have said that. So I was just like annoyed by that. I felt like it was just so excessive. You know what I mean? I'm like, one use is fine.
Right.
Like, you don't have to. I know you're a piece of shit now. Like,
Diana says one use of that word is fine.
That's not what I'm saying.
When's your one?
That's
Have
not
you
what
already
I'm
used
saying.
it, or are you saving it?
I will never use.
Okay.
I was thinking a good trivia question about Pulp Fiction would be how some characters take their coffee.
Oh, that's good. We do see a lot
How
of
does
different...
Honey Bunny take her coffee?
Honey Bunny... Oh, damn. I can only answer the wolf.
Winston Wolf, that's right.
Yeah.
We take it the same way. Many similarities between me and... Just one of the many similarities between me and Winston
You
Wolf.
and the wolf. I do always call you when I need to clean up a body.
Right, I always say, you clean it up, and I'll sit over here drinking my coffee because I'm not fucking doing it.
I don't know. How did Honey Bunny take her coffee?
Cream and sugar.
Cream and sugar.
You watch her make it while he's explaining to her why you should rob a restaurant instead of a bank.
Right.
Or whatever. And I was just noticing her do it. And then like he called for coffee and I think he just drank it black. And then Fabian talks about having a black cup of coffee and all this stuff about cream and sugar for Winston Wolf. So I was like, there's so many times that you could just be like, I want to know how any one character in Pulp Fiction takes their coffee.
And what it says about them.
And what it says about them.
One thing that...
Winston Wolf, clearly a sweetie pie.
Obviously. As we
obvious
saw.
Sweetie pie.
Well, okay, so this is one of the things I wanted to... It's sort of a big picture of the movie, but I wanted to talk about it early. This movie is so many of the conversations... And, okay, also, real quick, caveat.
Caveat?
We're talking about Pulp Fiction. Nothing... no revelation I'm having is going to be new about this movie. This is all just like, I haven't listened to 50 different podcasts where they talk about Pulp Fiction. So maybe you have, and we're the 51st, and you're like, yeah, no shit. People have been saying that since 1995. But...
Oh, you liked the camera angle in that one scene? No shit, Sherlock.
I'm like, the briefcase is actually a MacGuffin.
You're not supposed to know what's in it, you guys.
But no, what I was thinking by the end of this movie, and it was during the wolf scenes, I was thinking so many of the conversations in this movie are about politeness and how you treat other people and respect, right? And how, and like what's okay to show up at a friend's house with and what's not. You know, what's like wash your hands before you bloody this guy's towels. He's letting us into his house.
Right? Stop being a dick, Vincent. He was really sometimes a lot.
Talking about, you know, what's okay to do with someone else's spouse. You know, is a foot massage all right?
That's right. Saying please, even though he wanted Winston Wolf to say please to him. And I was like, Vincent, this whole thing is your fucking fault. Like, shut up.
Yes. Why are you coming in?
And fucking start cleaning.
Pretty please with sugar on top.
The fuck out of here.
He was so smooth about it, too.
I know,
and you even hear,
you
hear him say it, Sam Jackson say it later. He didn't lose his cool even when you were testing him.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just talking about what a cool guy he was. And then he says to his girlfriend at the end, he's like, it shows character.
That's
when,
true.
when you're nice to people.
That's true.
So it's just like so many of the conversations in this movie were around etiquette in such a vicious setting. You wouldn't expect these people to have etiquette, but they were actually most of them found it very important.
It was extremely important. There is always etiquette rules in any society, any community,
and arguably who didn't? Vincent. And he's the only one, spoiler alert, who doesn't make it out of there.
You're so right.
Very unceremonious death for Vincent.
I was like, what a day for Vincent, though.
Right?
I expected to see Fabienne in that diner, but I guess I don't think I did. You didn't see
I
her
thought of that, too. Was she going to be in there?
Pancakes.
Yes, and I noticed that he had buttermilk pancakes, and I was like, oh, they don't serve blueberry pancakes here. I thought she might be there, too. But I think timeline-wise...
Probably not, right?
It might have been that morning. I wonder if she's there.
I don't know. I have never done the red thread Charlie from It's
I
Always
wonder
Sunny
if
board
anyone's
on
ever
Pulp
recut Pulp Fiction chronologically.
I don't think anyone would take that kind of time.
No
one's
especially
interested.
Especially not someone with
this.
an editing system.
They
have no interest in Pulp Fiction.
They're like, whatever, just a movie, like any other movie.
But also that's the other thing about Vincent Vega, not very good at his job. He's always trying to pick a fight with Sam Jackson, whose name I just cannot remember.
I know. Why? God. What is it?
It's fucking Jules.
Oh, duh. Of course it's
Like,
Jules.
I don't know why I was thinking it was anything besides Jules.
Okay, Jules. All right. Let's just...
Yeah. Just say Jules.
Jules.
And I'll dub it in.
I will not want you to do that.
I'm not going to do that. What I would do is I would just write down a quote and be like, I have a thought about this quote. And now I'm looking and it's just a page full of quotes from Pulp Fiction. And I don't know why I wrote them down. It's too much happened. I heard too many words.
There were so many words.
In the last 2.5 hours.
Oh, man.
Although I will say, my name's Paul and this is between y'all. I want to change my name to Paul just so I can say that to people.
Absolutely beautiful.
If your name's Paul and you're not dropping that all the time, that you're welcome because that's your new catchphrase.
To get out of other people's drama-rama,
anybody.
You say, my name's Paul and this is between y'all. And then you skedaddle.
If I was still waiting tables and somebody had a problem, I'd bring my manager over and I'd be like, hey, my name's Paul. This is between y'all.
Maybe his name isn't even Paul. Like he's like,
That's true.
I just say that when I'm like, I'm about to like homer into the bushes.
Yeah, technically,
I'm palling out right now.
Any of us could say that.
No one necessarily would know if you were lying unless
That's
they already
true.
know your name.
Yeah, in which case I'd be like, well, right now my name's Paul, and this is between y'all. Burgers for breakfast. I was really bothered by it first, but then Jules did say, y'all having burgers for breakfast. Like what he pointed it out. So I was like, okay.
It's true. Do you think that it was the end of their night rather than the beginning? And that's why they were having like an end of night meal. They had not yet been to bed.
They did seem pretty worn out. They were getting that briefcase overnight.
They were probably, criminals often work a night shift, you could say.
Yeah. That's a good point. It was their dinner.
It was a dinner.
So the other issue I had with the morning was that when they called the wolf to help them clean out the dead guy in Quentin Tarantino's garage, the whole thing is my wife works the night shift at the hospital. She's coming home at 9:30 a.m. They called a wolf at 8:30 a.m. He says, I'll be there in 10 minutes. He's there at 8:40 and he says, we got 40 minutes. Or I guess he's there at 8:50. We've got 40 minutes until your wife comes home. when he got the phone call, he was at a formal party where people were wearing gowns and tuxedos at 8:30 in the morning. What was going on? Kind of parties does a wolf go to? Is this like we've been to like arts galas where it's like a brunch where there's a bunch of, the mayor is there and whatever. So maybe it was something like that, but.
Maybe it was also the end of their night. It was just one of those carousing aristocratic balls you hear about.
Well, I respect.
That the richy riches have.
Oh, is that what they have till 8 a.m. and they're still going when the sun is up?
Yeah, they're like, before you leave, have a delicious breakfast that was catered.
It's not like they were like cutting loose and like it looked like it had been
an all-nighter. It did not look like a fun party.
It looked like the beginning of a formal breakfast gala.
I know, it's like a tinkling
house.
Piano.
Right?
That's a good point. What is Winston Wolf up to?
Yeah.
And then after everything was over, he's like, let's go have breakfast. So he was like still wanting to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Right?
I think his day just started.
Breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he just like 7 a.m. I've got a tuxedo
gala event. I guess I'm glad I'm not in a society of people that want me to look like that at 7 in the fucking morning.
Because you got to get up at 5.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Earlier, probably. You got to get the hair blown out and everything.
Yeah.
You probably have to have your nails all done and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't be a rectangle.
It was a rectangle.
It drives me crazy every time. Really... And I get it's fine. It's probably the whole point. But he goes to the effort of tracing it out. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's a rectangle.
It's not a square.
But that's Tarantino. He's like, I'm not going to, like, when I also really love when Mia's telling him on the intercom, like, intercom's over this way, it's over this way, warmer, disco. She doesn't say bingo.
Oh.
She says disco. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that it wasn't the word you'd expect.
Right on, yeah.
You know?
That part is the famous John Travolta meme where he's sort of looking around confused. And I was like, have memes changed classic cinema? Like, is it like if a kid saw it, you know what I'm saying, for the first time?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, that's that meme.
That's what that meme is from.
That's what that meme's from.
I mean, look
like
at...
they're like writing it down like, oh my God, it's history in the making.
Look at Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he's pointing at the camera, and that like is the meme for memes. When you want a meme that you're watching a movie and you recognize the meme from it, you post that meme. That's so true. Can we go hang out at Jackrabbit Slim's?
I wrote the same thing.
Of course you did.
Why is it not a real place? They had a whole fucking Hot Wheels track going. I said Zorro was running food.
Of course, today at that place, that $5 milkshake would be $25.
Oh my God. I was like, again, Vincent, shut up. A $5 shake. I would die.
If someone offered me a $5 shake today, I'd be like, what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with it?
But and also, like, that place could never stay open now. I mean, maybe in Vegas or something. It would have to be a very touristy spot.
There's no way.
But like theme restaurants have a hard time these days.
Oh, first of all, it says she reserved a car. No, that's not happening today. And then that anyone would dance in front of people, it just feels like not a thing. I don't know. Maybe
I know,
they
especially
would.
When like they ordered Diet Coke and a milkshake. They weren't drinking.
No.
Although they did come home drunk.
That's what I said. I was like, it's interesting to me that they did not show them drinking at all at the diner. But when they came in, they were acting very drunk. Yeah. And I was like, she never really acted like a cokehead to me either. She didn't talk very much. She didn't talk very fast. Yeah. And she wasn't too, I don't know. There was just some things like that I felt were a little uneven. But I mean, also, whatever. Who cares?
Here's part of that too. Quentin Tarantino probably does think a cokehead sounds totally normal. Mm. He's like, what do you mean that there's a difference in the way you speak? But what he's really saying to you is, what do you mean there's a different way in people speak? You know, and he's just in his mind seeing regular conversation.
Normal paced.
So maybe...
The rest of you are just talking slow, right?
Yeah.
Talking real slow.
Yeah, which in fact, this whole movie, everyone talks real slow.
Also, John Travolta's like, sometimes got like a Southern accent was really weird, like, and not good.
Can I hot take real quick? Pulp Fiction hot take. No one's ever given one before.
Never
happened. No one's had the bravery.
A first.
To say this. like Samuel Jackson, first of all, should be top billed in this movie.
Oh my God.
Sheer screen time alone. He's all over it, and he's so good. Bruce Willis is great in this movie, especially thinking about Bruce Willis coming off of like The Honeymooners and being like a comedy sitcom star, and then just out of nowhere Die Hard, and then a couple years later he's this boxer. Like Bruce Willis was so good. Ving Rhames was very scary. I thought Uma Thurman was so weird and delightful in this movie. I don't think John Travolta really kept up with them.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I mean, he's fine. But and I like their banter, but honestly, didn't feel like he got it the same way everybody else did. And Tarantino reuses his actors so much, but does not reuse John Travolta, to the best of my knowledge, that I wonder if Tarantino also felt like John Travolta didn't quite grab onto the style the way other people do.
I wonder. That's interesting.
That's just my feeling, was like, he's serviceable, but he didn't stand out to me in this movie.
Right on. I wrote down eventually that everyone in this movie is fucking certifiable.
Yes.
Because, like, they're all insane.
Yeah.
And when I wrote it was when Jules turned religious. And decided that was a miracle that they had not been shot. And the way he was talking, I was like, okay, everybody's insane in this fucking movie. But I mean, you think about it immediately. But the fucking cab driver that Butch is in the cab with, or after he kills that boxer, nuts. She's so crazy. She's like, what's it like to kill a man? Or whatever. And
just always wanted to know.
Esmeralda Villalobos. I was like, they said her name so many times and she was not an important character. No. Like, it was just so funny. But yeah, Vincent was the most annoying of all those insane people. Yes.
I can say one thing I did like John Travolta. One moment I really enjoyed him was his pep talk in the bathroom while she was out there snorting his heroin. And he's trying to say, like, just got to go home. Just got to go home. And he says, just got to go home and jerk off and go to bed. And I was like, honestly, my man, you probably should be taking care of business right now in that bathroom so you don't do something stupid.
Wow.
You know, clear your head.
Eli would jerk it in your bathroom.
I didn't say that.
He would do it.
I did not say that. What he's doing is he's saying, but I'm going to stay ready just in case.
I see.
Honestly.
You're saying he kind of still wants it to happen.
He was kind of wanting it to happen. Is a little part of him. That's why he was giving himself the pep talk, because he knew it was going to happen. But I wouldn't actually have to do that in your bathroom, because I would be able to walk away, because I'm not an idiot like Vincent Vega, as we've clearly established.
Right. And we know you don't have $1,500 for heroin.
That's
we are
true.
Well
and honestly,
aware of that
if I
situation.
Did, wouldn't know who to call. I don't have an Eric Stoltz, that's for sure.
Speaking of that drug den, Trudy, the one that hardly ever talked or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, I would have to check, but I'm pretty sure that that's the same actress who plays in the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, a super religious, crazy bitch who is like mean as hell. And I was like, oh, Trudy, you're passed.
Oh my God.
So hard. Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fact check that.
Oh my God, I was right. It is her. Boom. Who's the best?
Incredible.
Amazing.
Good eye. And only you are familiar enough with the Guernsey Literary Potato Pie Society. What's it called?
The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society is explained very many times in the film. And it's good and historic and very romantic.
And features Glenn Powell.
It does have Glenn Powell, although you won't like him.
As an actor or as a character?
No, I mean as a character.
Well, yeah, there's lots of things I don't like him as a character in. I saw Top Gun.
That's true. But
although he came around.
He came around in the end. I feel like he's generally supposed to be a liked character.
All right. Glenn Powell wasn't in Pulp Fiction. Trudy, hilarious. You and I both were just peeling our skin off while she's talking about all her needle piercings.
Oh, that was Jody.
I don't need that.
That was Jody. Trudy was the other one.
Oh, Trudy was the quiet one. Yes. Jody was the my wife.
One.
Yeah, the one with all the stuff in her face.
Yes.
As Vincent very rudely said. Again, going back to how he does not. Rude. He's not considerate to people.
And then he'll take you to task for being rude. And you're like, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because you spent 3 years in Amsterdam, you think you can come back here and be blunt with everyone?
All right.
You're not European.
You go to
Vincent.
Amsterdam, you come back with blunts.
There
He
you
clearly
go.
misunderstood his fucking assignment. As usual, Vincent.
I thought this was so cool. It happens when Vincent is bringing Mia to Eric Stoltz's house after she OD'd.
Yep. Oh,
and the car, you see over Eric Stoltz's shoulder out the door, you see the car rush past the door. You just see it through the door frame, and then you hear it crash. And the same shot, they go outside, and that car is crashed into the house.
Yeah.
The pillar's broken. The car is all fucked up. And I was like, man, I was like, how did they must have crashed this car? Obviously, very unsafe. And what I think, not that Quentin Tarantino hasn't done very unsafe things in his movies, but what I think they did is they had a duplicate, and the car drove around the side of the house. And then the sound of the car crashed, and then they came out, and that car was preset, crashed in.
That makes sense.
That's the only way I could figure they did it.
That makes sense.
But I was like, that was such a good trick shot, because it really looked like, with no cut, I was like, man, they crashed that car.
Man, Vega ruined 2 cars in this movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The man ruins everything.
The man ruins everything he touches.
He's really like cinema's biggest dolt, Vincent Vega. Make that the title of the episode. What's an intercom? Huh?
That's him the whole fucking time. That's like, that was his inner brain coming out to
Even
play.
when he walks out of the bathroom and Butch is there holding his gun, he's just like, huh? Huh?
How old is the sexy French girlfriend? Because she's like, at turns, I was like, she's 30, she's 15, she's a 9-year-old. I mean,
Damn.
Not 9, but she just acted so crazy sometimes. I was like, I can't decide.
I found her to be likely in her 20s, but I just found her so naive, and she's clearly just supposed to be the so stupidly innocent girl in this movie. And I too was so frustrated when he was like, please just get down here and get on the bike. And she's like, what happened? What bike? And he's so like, there's something relatable about Butch because he gets so angry, but then he's like, I'm sorry. It's not your fault. I didn't make it clear to you that that's what's so important to me. Or he's like screaming at her to get on the bike, and he's like, I'm sorry. How was your breakfast?
Right.
Did you get the pancakes? He's like actually kind of a great boyfriend in terms of someone who's got some rage issues because he's a boxer.
I mean, I was like, maybe before you throw the television and scare the fucking shit out of her.
Should have caught yourself before you threw the TV.
Because then an apology like that, it becomes less of like, it's not as comforting because it feels like you've still shown me how much damage you could do to me, and so now it's okay for you to apologize because I'm scared. Like, I've been put in my place again.
That's fair.
I don't think that's what he was doing.
No.
I did not get that impression from him at all. I really did think that he was like, I really love her, and I don't want to fucking mad.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
You
That's
really
what I
just
like
saw...
about her. And he went downtown, he was like taking care of business.
Yeah. I think you really just saw in that moment that this was the single most important thing to him, and he felt stupid for not articulating that, and that he was just like, his whole life fell apart in that moment because he's like, I have to go risk my life now to get that, and then was able to at least catch himself and say, it's not your fault, it's mine.
Right.
And I'm going to go get it, and you go get breakfast, and I'm mad, and I'm even maybe mad at you, but that's just how I feel. I'm just, expressing myself by throwing this TV across the room, which again, that's a lot.
Expressing myself.
That's a lot. If I ended up criminally coming into a bunch of money, you and me this time tomorrow will be sipping pina coladas on the beach in Bora Bora. You know me, that makes me feel like I'm in prison on Bora Bora. Because I'm just there in a tropical paradise forever now, even all expenses paid, the rest of my life, I'm sitting pretty. I don't know, I need a city. So running away to a tropical nowhere is not my version of an escape in that situation. I'd be like, let's go hide out in Paris, or maybe somewhere a little more obscure like Lyon,
Lisbon, or perhaps the Azores.
But what about you? Where would you go with all the money you stole and you can never go home?
I mean, I don't know that I would choose an island either, to be honest with you. I suppose it makes sense if like someone's scary like Marcellus Wallace and his entire like crew of whomever is after you. Yeah, you want to pick somewhere remote.
Right.
But if it was like anywhere but here, oh my God, we're definitely going to some cool European cities. Why live in one place also? Like, I mean, if I have the money, I would probably move around a little bit.
But can you? Well, I guess that's the thing. Is like they felt like they couldn't move around or something. But I guess that's where I'm like, if it was for me, I'm stealing all this money and I have to go to a tropical paradise where I can never be found. It's not worth the crime.
I see.
You know?
You would just say, that's
I was like, I'm stealing a vacation that will never end.
That's what a lot of people would find appealing about
I know. Well, I'm cut from a different cloth.
Oh, he's built different, ladies and gents.
I'm just built different.
Sorry.
I don't like long walks on the beach. I do. Just like, for 3 days.
A 3-day walk on the beach? God damn, this guy.
Going all the way around Bora Bora.
You're insane.
Just a flashback to the OD scene. Adrenaline needle, right through your heart. First of all, I think you don't have to go through the breastbone. Like, can't you go between the ribs? I don't know. I'm not an anatomist.
I'm glad, because you can't even say it.
I'm no doctor. I'm no anatomical.
An anatomist?
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 Hey, anatomists. What are you called?
Or anatomists.
Right in. But anyway, here's my question. And again, cardiologists, write in and tell me the answer to this. There is now a needle-sized hole in your heart, which last I heard, like any holes in your heart are bad news.
I don't know. That's a good point. I did find it very strange that you could just put that giant needle through someone's breastbone or whatever it was. For her to just kind of, like, she looked like a zombie in the car, so I thought that was really good. But she just kind of, like, walks in and she's like, I won't tell my husband. And I'm like, okay. How? Right. How do you not need to see a doctor right now? How did you not go to an urgent care at least just to be like, can I just get, like, a checkout, make sure...
And what, ma'am?
I'm just walking around fine now.
And ma'am, what do you need to see our urgent care specialist for?
I died for a minute. Am I okay?
I died for a minute and someone stabbed a giant horse hypodermic needle into my heart.
Yeah. And it was at a junkie's house, so who knows how clean it was.
Oh, definitely not clean. And not just a junkie, Eric Stoltz.
It was at Eric Stoltz's house.
Right there, they'd be like, ER, stat, we're pumping you full of antibiotics.
Call everyone in.
Call everyone.
I know, yeah. The whole hospital has to come up. I was thinking about this with the Zed situation because it was such a fucked up, horrible scene and awful.
Yeah.
But I was like, I guess just say Pulp Fiction right in the title.
Sure.
And it's like, it's telling you it's going to be some lurid, fucked up shit.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Yep.
But I was just like, God damn, this is fucked up. And I'm glad that Marcellus gets to fuck with him with the blowtorch or whatever.
I mean, I'm not, because I don't like torture as a punishment for anybody. But, all right. Diana's pro-torture. Criminals, beware.
I love it.
Diana said
Choose violence.
Forget the all I can think of is Sokovia Accords, but I know it's not that. Geneva Convention.
Don't forget the Sokovia Accords.
Do I have my histories mixed up? No. I know the history that matters. And I can tell you the date the Sokovia Accords were signed.
That's right. Maybe not the Magna Carta.
Well, again, capital punishment and cruel and unusual capital punishment is Diana's position.
I'm not sure I agree that it was capital punishment, though, because it wasn't a state-sponsored killing. That was between two men.
That's fair.
Those were two men solving problems together. And he said, you made a fucking problem for me, and I'm going to solve it by killing you.
The justice system should not get involved.
I don't think that at all. I'm just saying these guys don't go by the legal system. They have their own way of retribution, right?
I'll say this.
And that guy was a cop, so why the fuck would you go to the cops? He had a badge and everything.
Look, hey, I'm just saying I don't like torturing people with blowtorches.
All right. Fair enough.
But
I wouldn't do it myself.
It sounds like I'm questioning that.
Well, I have not been in a situation such as Marcellus found himself in.
And
I can understand a murderous rage coming from it.
Right. If you were, it would be a struggle not to want to blowtorch someone. That would be me in the bathroom like Vincent Vega being like, hey, this is a test of your convictions. Mm-hmm. Because I really want to blowtorch this motherfucker right now. Mm-hmm. And who's to say what any of us would do in that situation.
It's just like in Hitman with Glenn Powell, where he pointed out that some people just need killing.
Which I'm sorry. The lieutenant governor of North Carolina just made a big statement about that. And he's
not
a
cool.
nightmare.
Yeah,
so
no, not cool.
Some people do not just need killing. But point being.
And it's a lower form of society that chooses that way to retribude.
Right.
But I'm just saying that's the society that he chose to live in.
Point being, super fucked up scene.
Ugh.
That guy, in the context of the movie, that guy got what was coming to him. He did not know that who he was messing with was Marcellus Wallace.
No.
But that's what happens when you're a horrible person like that. You don't know, and you're just grabbing random victims off the street who stumble into your shop.
You just fell out of a coconut tree.
You didn't just fall out of a coconut tree.
You got to
understand the world in the context that came before you or whatever. I think I'm getting that quote wrong.
Something. Context, anyway, and he did not have it.
He didn't have it.
He did not have it. He did not attempt to get it. So obviously a bad officer of the law, terrible rapist, horrible man, racist.
Yep. All right, blowtorch.
I'm just saying there's sometimes that you can tot up enough crimes to deserve the torch.
I guess we're going to blowtorch this guy.
I didn't realize I would be so bloodthirsty.
I mean,
that's what Pulp Fiction does. That's what it does. Tipper was right.
Tipper was right. Wow. It wasn't presented as in this was the choice of his character, but I like how long Butch took to pick a weapon before he went down to get there. Well, Marcellus Wallace is being tortured and raped.
Yeah.
And he's like, hammer.
Let me take my time.
No.
Mm-hmm.
However, I wanted to ask you this too. What's your choice of weapon in that situation? You had a hammer, a baseball bat, a chainsaw, and a katana to pick from.
I don't know. I think he picked the right tool for that job because the chainsaw was too loud and the other two had to get too close. With the sword, he just pick his moment, slice and dice, you're done. That guy was donezo.
I would argue this, and I think clearly it worked out for him, so we can't say he was wrong. I would say the baseball bat equals the katana, except, I've never been taught how to wield a katana.
No.
And it's not something that you can just, because on one hand, it's just like, well, it's the baseball bat, except it's sharp. So maybe that's better than the baseball bat. But I would just argue there's too many chances for me to get cut by that katana.
Fair.
Whereas like if the baseball bat ends up I'm in a struggle and he's pushing it up against my neck, it's not going to cut my carotid artery. So I think I would go baseball bat just because I'm not familiar enough with the art of the katana. Somebody's going to write in and be like, actually, it wasn't a katana.
Sword.
It was
Whatever. I would also suspect that even though it was placed in a high place of honor in the pawn shop or whatever, that it was one of those swords from like a Renaissance fair that it's like not very sharp at all. And so I'd be like, I mean, it looks cool, but like, I don't know, man. It might not cut a bitch at all.
He acted like this katana was given to him by like the master, like Hiroyuki Sanada himself came in and was like, this is my... I was given this on the set of Shogun, and it was made by the finest craftsman in Japan, and it's sharp enough to cut paper.
That's right.
And that ended up in this like pawn shop in the valley. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe they got the red violin in there. Who knows?
Yes.
It's like actually a treasure trove. You know what I'm saying? People show up.
Best pawn shop. That's how they lure everyone in.
That's how they lure everyone in. They got them in the basement and all their treasures upstairs. Well, speaking of bloodthirstiness, how about this for Butch, right? Is that when he's in that cab with that very weird Esmeralda cab driver, he said he didn't know that he had killed that boxer. Yeah. That he killed by accident, I guess, by punching him too hard or something. And it was the first person he had killed. Yeah. I think he says. Yeah. And he's like, I don't feel bad at all, actually. And then, like, throughout this movie, he kills a lot more people, and he's got no reaction whatsoever. Do you feel like just killing the first person is just like, it's just you're done? It just kind of opens a gate for you to be able to kill more?
I mean, it didn't for me. I wouldn't say that if I...
It didn't for you.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't... I don't think it sets off a chain for, like, now that I've killed, I must kill again. Like, just because you try
So you
something
have-
once doesn't mean you want to do it a bunch.
How many people have you killed?
I told you, I'm a one and done kind of guy. Always.
Eli says you can kill once, but
can-
no
everybody-
torture with blowtorches.
No.
That's mean.
You're allowed one. Everybody should be allowed one kill. But it's in the Constitution.
So we're starting the episode with me saying it's okay to say a racial slur just one time. And we're going to end it with you saying it's okay to kill someone just once.
Just once. Just once. And it has to be clean. No torture.
Clean.
A soldier's
clean
death.
Give me a soldier's death.
Honestly, the entire thing with Vincent accidentally shooting the guy in the back of the car and then them going to Jimmy's house and calling the wolf and getting the car cleaned out. That whole time I'm just like, why is this here? But Harvey Keitel's a delight. That scene's really fun. I like that part of the movie too. And then it does lead them to the diner. And the sort of contrast between their characters and Sam Jackson's whole sort of reasoning for not killing Tim Roth at the end. So I'm also like, I guess it matters. I guess you can't cut all that stuff out. You know, again, mad respect for Sally Menke, right? Yeah, mad respect for Sally Menke for editing this movie, because I don't know that you could have made it much tighter without losing a lot.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's so much more of footage out there. You just know that he couldn't stop. I think it's a Patton Oswalt joke where he's like, women make the best editors, film editors, because these male directors, he's like, they're just jizzing film all over the fucking thing. Yeah, have some more. And then she comes in and she's like, okay, let me clean this up. Nope, you get out of here. You go on, and I'm going to make this into a movie now. And we saw it when we were doing Ridiculous Romance with George and Marcia Lucas, obviously Tarantino, and Spielberg as well. I think a lot of them, and Scorsese.
Woman editors.
I believe so.
It's one of those movies that's like, it's super hyped up and everyone's seen it.
Yeah.
And you've seen a billion parodies and whatever. But I'm glad to revisit it because it is a good movie. And that there's a reason why people like it. It's the reason it's a classic. It's the reason people study it.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely things in it that were very notable and cool and unique. And I like that about some gangster movies when they're like so wrapped up in really mundane shit, like, you know, burgers and pancakes, and like whether you eat pork or whatever, just like very little shit. It's just everyday stuff that anyone would talk about.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and rob a restaurant or kill a guy or whatever. And it just kind of is like, this is as mundane to them as you would take the dry cleaning or something. Like, it's you talking about the Royale with cheese.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're running errands. But it's the same for them. You know, they're running errands. You know? So it just kind of, the world that they live in is so different, and the rules are different. So anyway, I do like that about it too.
You know, and I'll say this too, to this movie's credit. There's a trope that I really just am sickened by in movies. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I hate it. Where there's these killers that are like religious, and they're like, but for, you know, oh God, forgive me for what I must do, and I have to go kill this person, and it is my like. There's this like, I don't know, prayerful sort of mentality behind murder.
Right.
That's this sort of justification. And like, when it's treated like that's the coolest thing is when it drives me crazy. And I actually thought Pulp Fiction sort of undid that through Jules's character, because he was that guy through so much of it. He even says, like, I just thought it'd be a cool thing to say to someone
it was cold-blooded,
before I killed him. And then at the end he's like, what am I doing here? So to me, all the Pulp Fiction fans who then, I think, take the wrong part of that are like, yeah, isn't it cool to recite a Bible verse and then kill somebody? Or go like kneel down or have a big cross tattoo because you're an assassin.
Right.
Like, all that shit is so dull and dumb to me. And I actually felt like you missed the point.
It's a good point.
Of Pulp Fiction.
He even said, for Jules, he even said he didn't think about what it meant.
Yeah.
He didn't think about the words actually meant that were coming out of his mouth. He was just saying something that sounded cool in a cool way. Bang, bang, bang. It's all over. But he's like, as soon as I really started thinking about the words I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
it was about being a shepherd and
Yeah.
a brother and loving. And like, it was not a cold-blooded thing to say.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. You know, it didn't really fit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're right.
But people think...
It's when you're not actually paying attention to the meaning of what's in
Yeah.
front of you, and you can take it out of context and just fuck around with it. It's kind of funny and stupid.
Well, and what sticks in your head long after Pulp Fiction's over is you think about Sam Jackson's badass religious, you know, spiel to Brett before he kills him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the more
like
longer lasting, iconic sort of scene, and not the one where he's slowly explaining to Tim Roth why he was wrong about all that. So yeah, I could see.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I similarly, I'm really glad to have revisited it. Actually, I'm really actually glad AI made us watch it because, again, I almost wanted to say I resent my younger self for being so prickly about this movie, but I'm also glad that I didn't fall into any sort of worship of this movie, because then I might also have taken the wrong things from it and adopted the style for the sake of the style and not what I think does set it apart and make it, you know, pretty good, all things considered. It is impressive.
Yeah. And I think that I liked the way sometimes non-linear is just a cool gimmick and you don't know why they did it like that other than to try to impress you or something. But I liked the way that this story ended up because of Honey Bunny. And why can't I remember his name now?
It was Ringo.
Ringo and Honey Bunny.
Yeah.
I thought he was just calling him Ringo.
Oh, maybe.
Well, anyway, Tim Roth.
Tim Roth, yeah.
And Honey Bunny. Because they open the movie having this very kind of a sweet love story like conversation where they're just so in love and they're talking about robbing and like their careers and whatever. And then she is like, "I'll fucking kill you!" Like, and she had just said, "I don't want to kill anyone. Like, I don't never kill anyone."
Love that
and he's like,
transition.
"I would never kill I don't want to kill anyone." Like, you know, they're so like, "I'm not doing that." And then she's like, "Then execute him!" Like every time. It's so crazy. And then you don't see them for the whole movie. Instead, you're visiting these, top level fucking crooks.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie is when these very low level crooks meet and clash with these very high level crooks that would kill on the drop of a hat.
Yep.
And it was just kind of cool to see them. I don't know, just like that kind of criminal class thing where it was like, I've just poked a lion. Versus them recognizing like, oh, you're just one of me. You were me 100 years ago. Anyway, here, take the money.
Be
and go.
smarter, and maybe think about maybe not doing this. Almost was a part of that too.
Yeah, you haven't gone as far as I have, so you can still do something else.
Although he didn't make him give everybody else's wallets back.
Oh no, he said keep those.
That's a pretty big score. But honestly, that's probably part of what kept everyone safe too, is because he was like, look, you got some good money. I'm keeping my briefcase. Why don't you just leave? No more guns pointed at anybody. And, you know, if I was a patron of that diner right then, I don't think I would have been like, geez, guy, you couldn't have gotten my wallet back too? You know, I would have been like, wow, thank God this guy talked that man. I couldn't hear all these diners like on the other side of the restaurant just sitting there being like, what are they talking about? Can anyone hear? I think he's reciting the Bible.
Is he like a preacher?
I heard Ezekiel. What's in that briefcase?
It looked like the angel Gabriel.
And then they just walk out. I'd be like, whew, thank God for that guy in the gym shorts.
Right? Apparently, UC Santa Cruz was really helping me out today. I think that was actually Vega's shirt, but whatever.
What's your favorite Tarantino movie?
Probably Kill Bill or Kill Bill 2, I think.
Yeah. Kill Bill Volume 1.
Volume 1.
Which I think is, to me, it's twice as good as Volume 2. I like Volume 2 a lot, and I would probably like it better on a revisit, but I definitely like maybe just the hype of the first one.
Oh, yeah.
I think because also the second one, there's so much like slow Western stuff to it, which isn't as much my vibe as like the cool assassin, you know, big elaborate fight scenes going on with the Crazy 88 and stuff like that.
Good.
So good. But it's really up there with Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, Inglourious
which
Bastards
was just
awesome.
blew my mind.
Yeah, that was
seeing
a
it.
great movie.
I love that movie. And again, I'm not like I've never been a Tarantino like worshiper. when I think of my favorite directors, I wouldn't necessarily name him. But then whenever I'm watching his movies, I'm like, man knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's got problems as a human being, as a scriptwriter, and even as a filmmaker. Mostly as a human being, but
yeah, I mean, like,
there's some good movies.
Even the ones don't love necessarily or anything, I still had a good time watching them. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was fun to watch.
I really loved it.
Yeah, and
I thought it was really good. Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight was fun.
Hateful Eight was
Eight's
tough,
insane.
but it's good.
It's tough, but it was insane. We got to see that when it was on tour. It was like on film.
Yep.
And it had an intermission. And Walton Goggins came out, and we watched Justified, and so we were like, Boyd Crowder,
because this movie came out while Justified was on.
That's right.
And if you didn't watch Justified, you didn't know Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins, and he was in this movie.
And he's in Hateful Eight.
So he comes out at our theater, and we're like flipping our fucking lids. Yeah. And of course, nobody else cares.
And like 4 other people in this packed house.
And he's like, hey, everybody, like, whatever. And no one else.
Oh, he acknowledged us.
Did he?
Yeah, because it was like us and like 3 people on the other side of the theater who were like,
Boyd Crowder.
And he was like, he like gave us a point because because everyone else is like, who's this? Oh, he's like a C-list player in this movie. But he's from Atlanta or somewhere near Atlanta, so that's why he was here introducing it when it was touring with with the original like film print.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's Pulp Fiction.
That's all you can say about Pulp Fiction.
No, actually. Everyone should just stop talking about Pulp Fiction.
I think we finished it.
No mass analysis of Pulp Fiction.
I think we've said it all. Thank you so much for joining us.
As always.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got our good friend James Yates, who's going to get sucked up by the AI too, and we're going to find out what movie we're watching next time.
We'll see. It's going to be awesome.
Be right back.
Don't go away.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. As promised, we have a very exciting game to play today because we have a guest with us, one of our best and oldest friend. I hate oldest friend.
I know.
Because I always feel like you're my eldest friend.
It's true, though. I mean,
we have friends way older than you.
You're not the oldest friend I have.
Yeah. Well, sure.
You're definitely
but we old.
One of our one of our peers that we've known the longest.
Yeah, there you go.
We're here with James Yates today. James, welcome to AI Made Us Watch.
Yay.
Thank you for helping defend the world from this terror.
I'm honored. I'm a longtime fan of the pod.
Hell yeah.
Since episode 1, and so excited to be here.
Wow, man. Excited to have you. Wow. If you listen to the show, you can end up on it.
That's right. That's true.
Yes.
How many shows say that?
Exactly.
And give you that promise.
So you're here, you're trapped. The AI has
stolen your voice.
Will steal your voice as well.
Oh,
sorry.
And
so excited.
Yeah.
I knew what I was getting into.
You're part of it now.
Very excited.
I think the AI is going to steal all our voices eventually.
Probably.
So far, it's just Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, so far it's just ScarJo and us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Julian. And Julian, who was on the show before,
That's
too.
right.
What an illustrious group to be added to. I mean, oh my God.
The new Avengers, I've always said.
Oh boy. Don't say that. It'll make us watch Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh no.
No.
Okay, so we've got to find out which movie we have to watch next week. But for some reason, I guess the AI, as it tends to do, took Pulp Fiction a little too seriously, and it seems to be glitching, and it's stuck speaking like a character in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, no.
It really loved Pulp Fiction.
Oh, man.
God, AI.
So now it's like, I want to be in Pulp Fiction. And it's
like
it's thirsty. It's what it is.
Better influences on it. Let's hope.
It's going to sound like every college film student peer I had.
Oh, no.
This is going to sound like 2 Days in the Valley, but
all right.
Here you go.
AI, what movie do we have to watch next?
All right, listen up, kid. You got yourself a real mission here, and I ain't got time for any slip-ups. The fate of the world, huh? Well, all right, let's make this interesting. Here's what I got for you. This movie came out in 1981, and it's a crime drama. And that's all I'm gonna say. You're not gonna get anything else out of me, no matter what you do.
Well, what if we ask questions?
Oh, in that case, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
good.
that's-
That's
I
kind
thought
of
it was going to
the
be
whole part of the point of the game.
I'm so upset because I am usually the person yelling at you guys that I know exactly what
Like right up like year and
That's
genre,
right.
and you get it.
And you're like,
yeah.
done.
Oh, yeah.
I
and I'm
believe
like,
it.
oh, this is so perfect. But if you could have picked one
Crime drama.
One
year
genre.
and genre that I know nothing about, it would be 1981 crime drama.
I'll tell you a 1981
I
crime drama that
mean-
I'm familiar with, and it's Cutter's Way.
Oh,
Cutter's
yeah. Was that
Way!
1981?
Yeah.
Oh, my
It
God.
was actually.
So
Well-
let's just hope that
Oh,
the
no.
AI doesn't
Oh,
only
no.
have 12 movies in its repertoire.
This
boy.
is going to be a real short
Well,
show.
it is inspired by Quentin Tarantino, so
Oh.
it might pull from the same,
Oh, that's true. It might
be
be
pulling
feeling.
from its same references over and over again. So
That's true. That's all Tarantino. That is
That
very
is-
Tarantino.
That is very
hot
Tarantino
take.
thing to
No,
do.
just kidding. I love Quentin Tarantino so much. 1981 crime drama. I mean, I'm thinking like Deer Hunter. I'm thinking
Oh,
like
Oh my
man.
God.
is that one like a Godfather 2 or something would have come out, or 3?
yeah,
or I don't
that's
even
possible
know.
too.
Or,
Yeah.
like a Scorsese
Was
movie
Deer
from
Hunter
81.
not late
What's
70s? Wasn't that like 78 or?
Yeah, I think you're
Deer-
right.
I mean,
think
it
you're
could have
right.
crossed over in
See,
like
that's
80,
the thing.
81,
That's about
but
81.
I know
It's
they're
so
very
Right on
similar.
that.
They
Right
I mean,
on that.
Remember Cutter's Way
Cutter's
felt like a
Way.
70s movie.
Sure did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this movie's gonna feel 70s
Yeah,
as
it's
fuck,
70s as
no matter
fuck.
what.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Because,
be
yeah.
like the pace was
But
whatever,
crime
but
drama from 81, boy, it
Huh.
could be so many. I just don't know.
Well, I'd ask what it's rated, but I'm just gonna guess that it's
crime
R.
drama is
I mean,
probably
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's that Bugsy Malone with little Jodie Foster and Ralph Macchio. Is that a thing?
Oh, Bugsy Malone with Jodie Foster and Ralph
Oh.
Where their
Macchio.
kids dressed up in
no way. I don't
gangster
know about
clothes
this.
with little Tommy
remember
guns. and
that
stuff.
one.
It's like a really famous
Cute.
director did it. I can't remember who. It was a huge bomb because that sounds crazy, but some people really love it. It's got a cult following.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
And it's a musical.
Wait.
Wait. a
Bugsy
second.
Malone,
Yes.
Jodie Foster,
Played
Ralph
by
Macchio.
kids. Yes.
Kids musical from the 80s.
Okay, well
Yeah,
now I kind of hope it's
think-
Bugsy
Unless
Malone.
I've just like hallucinated this.
That
But
would
I'm
be a
pretty
really
sure that
weird
everything that I'm
hallucination.
telling you is true.
Everyone would be like, "So what were you on, and where can I find it?"
I'm sorry, guys. I did shrooms before I came to be honored to be on your podcast. So
You-
I got really high first.
You-
Oh, Scott Baio.
It's Scott Baio.
I knew something I was saying wasn't right. It's not
1976.
Ralph Macchio, unfortunately.
Hey, you guys want to know what movie this ain't?
oh,
Uh-oh.
It's not Bugsy Malone from 1976.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
well.
Quentin Tarantino inspired.
Okay.
Were we rambling too much?
oh
for
yeah.
you?
Oh,
Going off on a tangent about an old film.
that really had
Come
nothing to
on.
do with anything, but it was
Give us some
character
slack.
building.
This movie's rated R, all right? So get over yourselves.
Well, of course. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
it should start giving us either director or some of the actors. Like,
Okay.
Okay,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that
yeah.
would be helpful.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay,
All right.
let's-
So who's the director of this movie?
All right, you got me. The director is Bob Raffleson. Now, come on, make your next move, wise guy.
Whomst amongst
Oh,
us is
yeah.
not familiar with the Raffleson catalog?
Of course,
Huge.
Bob Raffleson.
Got his own area of the
yes.
Criterion collection, I
Oh,
believe.
man.
Sure. Yeah.
So
oh, yeah.
This doesn't narrow it down at all because the library is
No.
really just so wide.
You could have a whole raffle of Rafflesons.
And 81
It could be
was
any movie.
peak Raffleson.
oh yeah.
Raffleson.
Yeah.
Pete
As we all know.
Raffleson.
Yeah, the year of
The
Raffleson. most of
Raffleson
us
Renaissance, I
call it.
believe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was really popular like in mid 70s. There's kind of a dip.
Yep.
And then 81 was the Renaissance.
Mhm.
Yep.
The Raffleson.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Great.
the Rafflesonaissance.
The Raffleson.
Raffleson.
if they were as cute as we are with portmanteaus at the time, they would have called it that.
Yeah, they didn't get into
They
that
didn't
until the
get into that until later.
aughts, at least.
So I take it you guys don't know who the fuck Bob
No, I
Raffleson
have no
is.
idea. who the
we
fuck
don't.
that is.
Nobody
Who
knows
Bob
who Bob
Raffleson
No
Raffleson
one knows
is.
who Bob Raffleson is.
It's not helping.
Sorry
No.
to that man.
No.
Yeah.
Would it help to know any other things Bob Raffleson directed? Like,
Yeah.
What
Ooh,
kind
that's
of?
a good
Yeah.
idea.
Oh, Bob Raffleson? Oh, he's got a few gems up his sleeve. He did the 5 Easy Pieces, the King of Marvin Gardens in 1972, and then, Mountains of the Moon in 1990, huh?
Okay.
Mountains of the Moon? Anybody?
Those
No,
are three
not
films
me.
that I have
No.
never.
Not me. Those-
Oh, I know
heard of.
Five Easy Pieces and
sure.
The King of Marvin Gardens I've heard of, but
I've not heard
but
of
Mountains of the Moon clearly he's past his prime. Whoever this is, Raffleson was
Raffleson
done
was phoning it
Raffleson
in. He was
Mhm.
by
phoning it in.
1990.
Yeah.
But
But he did something in
boy.
81.
Yeah,
But I was right
okay.
about the 70s. He did well in
This
the 70s.
Yeah.
this might have been the
Yeah.
This might have been the
Raffles
Raffles-Renaissance. we just coined a term for film history about Bob Raffleson.
Welcome, Bob.
Maybe something like, could it be one of those like Dirty Harry movies or like a or
That's
a
a good-
Death Wish?
I don't know, Death Wish.
Or either one of the Dirty Harry movies or one of the Death Wish movies. So like
Okay.
either Death Wish is Charles Bronson, so either a Charles Bronson movie
okay.
or,
Oh, Bronson,
or a
sure,
Clint
yeah.
Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this movie about a dirty cop?
You got it, Slick. This movie's about a dirty cop, all right. But don't think that's all there is to it. Keep digging. You know, there's always more under the surface.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
That's fair.
So it's probably one of the Dirty Harry movies.
Something like that. Could be.
Although,
Well, there's a lot of dirty cop movies back
and
in the
he's
day,
not
too.
a dirty cop.
Right.
He's
just
He's
covered in
called
dirt.
Dirty Harry. Why is he called Dirty Harry?
He's famously never bathes.
yes, he stinks. He's like
so
Big
stank
Ben.
ass.
He's Big Ben.
Just a big
There's a
cloud
cloud.
follows him around.
Okay, do we want to ask if Clint Eastwood is in this movie?
I think you just did.
Nope. Clint Eastwood ain't in this one. You're gonna have to dig a little deeper. Hey, how much was that milkshake? $5. Oh boy.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
There we go with the diner prices again.
Yes.
He loves the diner price.
Gotta
Just
talk
a
about the diner
random diner.
price. Okay,
Okay,
no
so
Clint
it's not
Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood because it could be Charles Bronson or oh my God, you guys, 1981 crime drama. Boy, oh boy.
What about Scorsese, like a gangster movie or something?
But it's
But we know
Raffleson.
it's Raffleson.
Oh yeah. Well, no, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like, you
right,
know, around,
right.
you know,
Yeah, sure,
like that
gangster
type
movie.
of movie.
Yeah, are there gangsters?
Yeah, there's some gangsters in this movie though. The flick's crawling with them, really. So you know, you're gonna see some gangsters. I can tell you that
Gangsters
much.
famously crawl.
Gangsters,
famously crawling.
dirty cop. So Raffles, like I keep forgetting. It's Raffle. We're in Raffles. We're in the Raffles Renaissance.
Yeah,
can't.
it's a Rafflesverse
It's a
movie.
Raffles-
Rafflesverse movie.
Yeah.
One of the peak Rafflesonian
peak.
works.
What
Bob
film
Raffleson's big
lover can't
comeback.
say they know their favorite Raffleson?
Was this a well-known movie?
Not exactly. It's got its fans, but it's more of a hidden gem flying under the radar. Not something you call a household name, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh boy.
All
we're
right.
Screwed.
That's not helpful.
Yeah.
1981 and a crime drama was already very obscure to me, and now it's an obscure one of those.
I'm so mad.
I
I'm
don't
so
know about
defeated
this.
by this AI. Oh, this is how the rest of our lives are going to be. We're going to be saying that so many times, I feel like.
Oh, the AI's riddles stumped me again.
Get an actor, right? We don't know who's in this yet, right?
Yeah, should
Yeah.
we
Is
just
there any
go for the
actor?
lead actor?
Yeah.
an actor,
Who's
yeah.
the lead actor in this movie?
The lead actor in this movie is none other than Jackie Jack himself, Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson of the Jacks.
Yeah.
Many Jacks.
The many Jacks we know.
Jack Nicholson.
81 Nicholson. I mean, this is like the same year as The Shining. Like, this is like right there.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, can we get a different actor?
Alongside Jack Nicholson, you've got Harvey Keitel and Valerie Perrine. Quite the lineup, huh? You know, get a lineup like a...
Oh no.
Oh, I
yeah,
get
like
it, AI.
It's like a like a
yeah,
lineup,
like a
like
police
a-
lineup.
like a
Police
yeah,
lineup.
we get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's
It's very
on the
clever,
nose.
very
So Jack
clever.
Nicholson, Harvey Keitel, Valerie Perrine. Okay.
Harvey Keitel's in like every
That's
gangster movie.
so... I'm going to feel so stupid here.
It sounds like an AI generated movie.
Drama.
What's the one? I can like see almost the poster for it, and I
Yeah.
can't. No, I don't know the name of it. There's like he's in like a little hat, like a army hat or something.
Ooh, a little hat.
Mm.
Asking if there's any little hats. In hey, are there any little hats in this film?
Yeah, there's some little hats in this movie. The fedoras, they make their appearance.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
Oh, fedora!
is
So,
this
it's
a
a period
period
piece.
piece?
Oh,
This might
okay.
be a period piece, not set in the 80s.
But that sounds like Chinatown. But no,
Chinatown.
no, Harvey
Oh.
Keitel's not.
It's not a period piece, I'll tell you that. It's set in contemporary times for when it was released.
Oh, so they were just carrying on with the fedora
They
situation.
just love a
in the
fedora in
80s.
1981, gangsters.
All of that, keep it, but it's none of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Chinatown. That's the look, or no. But then there's. No, that's not it. And then when I hear what it is, I'm like, oh, I know I've never seen this. I don't think,
I don't think
but
I have.
I know I've heard of it, and I'm gonna feel very stupid.
I feel like when I hear what this movie is, I'm going to say 80% of the clues you gave us are wrong.
Okay, well, that is always a possibility, sad to say.
These hallucinations are really...
All right.
We have to admit defeat.
Great. My first time here.
I know.
You embarrassed us in
telling
front of our
you.
guests.
You're at home watching Jeopardy and you get everyone right, and then you're standing there
That's right.
Exactly
with Mayim Bialik or Ken Jennings in your face. And you just
I feel that way if someone's
blank.
just like, what's your favorite movie? And I'm like, I've never seen a movie. Like, I've
What
never
are
heard
movies?
of what are movies. Like, I
It's true.
Oh my
I can't think
God.
of one thing.
All right, we give up. What movie is it?
All right, kid, you gave it your best shot. The movie is The Border. Released in 1981, directed by Bob Rafelson and starring Jack Nicholson, Harvey Keitel, and Valerie Perrin. It's a gritty crime drama about a border patrol officer who gets involved in corruption and human trafficking. Now go watch it and let me know what you think.
The Border.
Have you heard of it?
I have not heard of this.
I don't know.
guys.
The Border
heard of this
is
movie?
That sounds
so-
crazy.
Okay, so Bob Rafelson's
Wow.
The Border.
It kind of sounds.
I'm very excited.
Interesting.
I
I'm
was
excited.
going to say, I was like, I don't know what this is, but whatever it's going to be, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
But this is awesome. This is exactly what I love about y'all's shows, like with Cutter's Way,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That was good.
and Proof.
Yeah, you gotta
Right?
watch Proof.
This is
You gotta
really
watch Proof.
rad to just completely discover a movie I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Right? The
Yeah.
Border.
Not gonna lie, I kind of thought whatever it spit at us was going to be something I had already seen before.
Yeah, I've
I-
kind of thought so too, because
I'm
you've seen a lot of movies.
pretty
you're
pumped.
very
I'm
much a film
stoked about
buff, so
this.
yeah, this is awesome. We all get to see something new.
All right, everybody. Well, join us next week with James as we watch The Border and
Hell
talk
yeah.
about that movie of who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows
And
what we're
I
in
hope-
for?
Have you seen The Border?
Does it
Let
even
us
really
know.
exist? We'll
Does it
find
even
out.
That's true. We might go find out if this
You're
movie
so
is
right.
Is it
completely
even
hallucinated.
really a thing?
All right, if it doesn't exist, the three of us will invent a plot and act it out for you at the microphone.
Make our own Rafflesana
That's
songs.
our review. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for listening. AI Made Us Watch is a Squirrels in a Trench Coat production. I'm Eli Banks.
And I'm Diana Banks, and you can follow this show on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at AI Made Us Watch, and also me on some of those platforms at Dynamite Boom.
And I'm at Oh Great, It's Eli. Thank you so much to our Patreon touring masters. Right now, it's Barbara Banks.
Yay!
You could be on that list too by supporting us on Patreon at AI Made Us Watch.
Yes, and you can also drop a review, and don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever real human podcasts are downloaded.
Thank you all for listening or watching. Thank you, James, for being
Yay,
here.
James!
And we'll catch you all next week for The Border, 1981.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Now we're trying to save the world as we race against the clock. But at least